Great. Well, welcome everyone to our midweek webinar on surviving and thriving through the COVID challenges that we're facing. My name is Chris Fordy, and we've got a great hour of sharing some ideas and just getting an update on where we all are and how we can help you best moving forward. Could I just a quick show of hands? You can hear me okay? Just if you use on the on your control panel. Yeah, a few people are saying brilliant. Welcome everybody. I need to make Mark a co-host. Brilliant. Okay, guys, I'm just going to put your hands down. Thank you for that. And we'll get cracking. So, yeah, welcome today. But today's really a bit of a catch-up and an update on where we are. We've got a few things that we want to work with you on, and we're talking a little bit about something we call perturbation, the state of being perturbed, and just get a check-in with you on how you're feeling and what's going on for you. So just briefly, as you know, most of you on the call, our goal right now is to help as many businesses as you can. We've got a goal to create 1,000 jobs, and we're well on with that. But now we're pivoting that a little bit into saving as many jobs, 1,000 jobs, or as many jobs as we can, and businesses. So please let us know how we can help you. Please introduce us to other people that we can help, and together we can make things really fly. So as we have been doing all the way through, we're going to continue to do. I'm keen to know just how you're feeling right now. So if you could put a description of how you feel and a mark out of 10, and then we're going to do a quick check back in at the end just to see where we are. So if you could just put in your chat box how you're feeling. Great, all good. 6 out of 10 from Nathan. Okay, Nathan, let's see if we can get to 7 by the end of the call. 7 for Mark. Great, Mark. I think you went from 6 to an 8 the other day, so I'm really pleased that we've got you up a notch on a more permanent basis. Optimistic to me, brilliant. Craig, 7, wonderful. Today, 6 out of 10. Teresa, saying she's just been furloughed, had to help Pepper. Brilliant. Well, Teresa, we might talk a little bit on mindset today, and it might help. 7, 8, great. 7 today, not bad. If you weren't bad, Jason, you might just be good. So that's wonderful. Lee is an 8. Dame is an 8. Optimistic Dave. Good guy. Well, thank you so much. Keep that coming in. Nothing. I know, Jason. I was teasing you, but that's okay. So let's get cracking. Just again, most of you have seen this slide. Some of you won't. As we said before, I'll go through it fairly quickly. But as we can see, the phase 1, we've come into lockdown. That we'd probably say officially that was about a week ago. It's still probably for so many of us creating a feeling of instability and therefore insecurity, and therefore understandable bit of fear, a bit of concern about where we are. Now, we're totally, and at this point we need to get ourselves a bit more safe. We need to get a bit of normality. We might need to fix some stuff in our home lives, but also our businesses. We might look at our staff, the furloughing situation, as we've mentioned already. Finances, we may need to mothball some or all of our business. So we know we're doing that right now, but fairly soon, and for some of us we're already through it, we need to be focusing on the future, where we're going, what it's going to look like on the other side of this challenge. We all don't know when it is going to end, and that insecurity and lack of surety will continue to create a level of fear and concern with us. But we know it's going to happen, so let's start to plan on what it's going to look like on the other side. So this is what we call the opportunity phase right now, for those of you that are through the lockdown phase and through the warming up phase of when we actually start going back into work, or know we're about to go back into work. What do we need to do? And we're going to give you a bit of check-in on some of the things we hope you will have started already that are in lockdown and also training phases. But look at where we are, look at our structure, look at our people, look at our learning, look at our knowledge, look at our marketing and its messages, look at our whole sales and delivery processes. So really get ourselves ready for something that's going to happen eventually. So that red star is something's going to happen. We will come out of lockdown, however we describe that at some point. And it could be a matter of, I guess realistically, it's going to be a matter of months, i.e. at least 1 month, but it may ultimately a matter of single-digit weeks, maybe. And if that's the case, we do need to be planning right now. And then obviously after that, we'll have a sprint back up into working practices, get things going, take advantage of the markets as they open, and our clients starting to buy from us again or continuing to buy from us again, until we get into back into the norm of competing and growing in the normal environment, which is the blue phase. So just a check-in with that we really believe we are and should be in the opportunity phase right now to start getting ourselves ready and fit for something that will happen. It may be a few weeks away. And even right now, somebody said this morning, 3 weeks feels like an eternity. So we're not saying it won't feel like it's a long way away, but literally it won't be that far away, potentially. So we do need to get some of your time focusing on the future and how we're going to take advantage of the future, not just the now and how we deal with it. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. At any point you've got a question or a comment, please put it in your chat box. And if you can make sure it says where it says 2 in your chat box, it's all panelists and attendees so everyone can see your questions, not just me. And it's good just to share and see how we're going. So we're going to have a bit of an update today just to catch up, but we're going to talk a little bit also about what we call perturbation. So we say in order to grow, but also through challenging times, we naturally get an amount of pressure. And if I was to say, show of hands who's feeling a bit more under pressure now than perhaps they were 4 weeks ago, I'm pretty sure we're going to get some hands flying up. Yeah, I'll put mine up. There's a lot of pressure going on. Some of it is negative, some of it's positive. There's some positive pressure. I have to say, I'm getting way more done right now, and I'm really, things are really, I'm actually enjoying a lot of this pressure. Hopefully you are to some extent. Question from Mark. Yep, you certainly may. Do you believe whilst we're in the training part of the opportunity phase that we should continue to actively market our services? Absolutely, 100%, Mark. 100%. Please keep marketing. We might need to look at our marketing before we continue, because it probably needs to be more relevant to the current situation. But look, most of our competitors won't be marketing right now. So what an opportunity to get our face out there, our message out there, and to know our current and future clients that it's business. It will be business as usual, even if it's not business as usual right now. So absolutely, Mark. We have a session on Friday morning. That's in addition to the webinar at lunchtime. We have an action club, which is our group coaching program. We're going to open up to everybody, and that's going to be specifically on marketing and how we market effectively, the principles behind marketing, and get you to look at what you need to do differently, maybe new stuff, maybe change stuff, what you need to do. So bang on, keep marketing, guys, because marketing is a way we attract new people. As long as we know it's an investment, it's going to give us a return. So great question, Mark, and we might come back to that a bit later on. So thank you, brilliant question. Quick hand up. Let's just do another poll. Who agrees with that proposition that we should still be marketing? Maybe differently, but effectively. Nathan, Damien, Charlie, Jason. Great. Okay. Oh, it's quite a few more. Great. So a lot of people do. Great. So we may just need to look at how we do it effectively. Thank you. I'm going to put your hands down. Anybody disagree? I'm just interested to know if anybody disagrees that we shouldn't be marketing. It's okay. There are no rights or wrongs in any of this, and it will be specific to your business. So relax if you feel, no, I shouldn't be marketing right now. But okay, nobody appears to right now, and that's great. Okay. And just a quick note, welcome a few new faces and new names I can see on there. So I'm looking forward to giving you great value. It hasn't been on your radar, marketing. Great. Okay. Well, if I was to say, Mark, for all of you, that a simple definition of marketing is buying new customers and keeping some of the existing ones. So if we're not investing in buying new customers and keeping the ones we've got, what business are we going to have on the other side of this? It feels too soon to market to my school customers. Great, Phil. Thank you for raising that. And let's be clear, each individual business will have a different timescale, a different requirement. All I would say to some extent is there will be a great time, because schools, if that's schools, they're probably still dealing with the current situation. But one thing they're probably not dealing with is the day-to-day. At some point they might complete, I really don't know what's going to happen, but as we get towards the summer, they will be looking towards the normal closure. Holding off and preparing later stages, Phil, that's absolutely fine. I'd suggest we have a chat about that, because there might be some part of your marketing that will be relevant right now. And again, the message would be around acknowledging the challenges of our clients, for all of us. But schools, I know you're challenged right now. You've closed down rapidly. You're probably dealing with looking after key workers. It's a whole different world. This is how we may be able to help you in the future. So get it. And maybe, Phil, if you'd like to have one of our gifted coaching sessions where we talk it through, you may be absolutely bang on. Our job here as coaches especially is just to challenge your thinking. So you might be right, but I'd like, with your permission, maybe just to have half an hour with you just to challenge it and see if there are some things we could do right now. Because the great thing is, a lot of people won't be doing any marketing. So a lot of people will just have pulled up the drawbridge, stopped, and therefore we have a massive void of communication information that we can take advantage of filling. Cool. So we've said some of us are under pressure. I certainly, there's some good and challenging pressure. And if you imagine you as a bubble, which is a little bit of an interesting analogy, think of you as a bubble. As we put pressure on a bubble, and if this bubble going, the wavy line represents, we call it, if you everyone familiar with the idea of a semi-permanent membrane or a sieve? Imagine put it through a sheet that has holes in it. If we put pressure on that bubble and that bubble's you, at some point, enough pressure, that bubble's going to burst. It'll break into smaller bubbles and move through the barrier being this sieve or whatever the analogy you might use. That we put pressure on, the bubble breaks, and at that point we get emotion, we get energies released at that point of breaking. There's the pop, the big pop, and we get a breakthrough, and we break into smaller bubbles. Then ultimately, if that was a bubble of air, that would reform into a new bubble on the other side. So if you think about the barrier being the obstacles we face mentally as well as physically, the challenge we face, the pressure will help us break through. So the situation we're in right now, some of us can choose to maybe choose flight or freeze, do nothing, or just ignore the challenge or pretend it's going to go away. For those of us that choose to keep the pressure on ourselves and say, how do we fight and push through it? This is an opportunity to push through our barrier. Now, the state of the pressure being placed and up against this barrier before we break through is what we call perturbation. I have to be very careful how I say that. It's the state of being perturbed. So we feel perturbed, we feel fearful. But for those of you who have gone through this process yourself, you'll probably know that it's an amazing feeling on the other side, getting through perturbation and actually breaking through and going, yeah, I was really scared right now, but I pushed through. This has really helped me. I'm now a better, different person. That's the situation of perturbation, and we're helping a lot of people right now break through their perturbation to get active and get changes being done and make things happen. And it's understandable perturbation right now, the amount of fear out there. And so this is how we see, if you think about success, whether being growing through this challenge, maybe just through surviving, we're going to start off as soon as we knew we were in that lockdown phase and we started to address the situation. We move forward, hopefully positively. Most of us hopefully went after a couple of days of holding our heads in our hands, right, let's get cracking, let's start. But it can get harder, guys. It can go to that perturbation, the fear. Will it work? If I put this effort in, investment in, am I going to get a payback? What's going to happen? And for me, we have two choices. We can take the pressure off. We can quit. We can actually say, well, look, I'll just wait for everything to blow over. I'll hope. Or we can keep pushing through. We can make that breakthrough. So I asked you to think about what might be perturbing you, what might be creating fear in you, and how we can help you break through to the success that we all deserve by taking the bull by the horns and making things happen. Because one of the things we say, and hopefully you get this, is why this whole process is really valuable. Okay, Damien, I appreciate we've got to go. Sorry, but get on the recording if this is useful so far, because there's a few more bits to go. One of the things we say in Action Coach is a breakthrough follows a breakdown, a break apart, a break with, or a break up. So sometimes we have to break up to reform on the other side of that barrier. So one of the things I'm going to ask you to think about is what in your own beliefs, values, skills, what we need to break up and then reform. And maybe it's the business itself. Maybe we need to look at the business in a different way, to break it into its parts, reform them, and come out the other side. I hope that makes sense. It's a challenging situation to fill, but we wouldn't be doing our job if we weren't acknowledging the concerns that most of us have. Because fear holds most of us back, and I suggest there's a lot of fear out there right now. There has been a lot, and there probably will continue to be. And with changes in how we move forward and the economy, there may be more. But really, fear for us is something that we should see it as being a belief that things are going to go wrong. Because fear is typically something in the future. It's always something that's about to happen, not has happened. And for those of you that experience fear is often more scary than the actual situation itself. I think John F. Kennedy said there's nothing to fear but fear itself, because of the way it makes us feel and the way it stops us doing stuff and creates that inactivity and that indecision. And so we have a definition of fear, an acronym for fear, that hopefully makes some sense. Fear typically is false expectation or false evidence appearing real. If you think about it, the things we're fearful of, a great example would be fear of, let's say, flying or spiders or snakes. In general, the fear is way worse than the reality. Being on a plane is probably one of the safest forms of transport. I believe it is. It's way more safe than actually driving in your car and driving in our cars. Yet very few of us actually fear getting into a car, but some of us will fear getting on a plane. So that's our perception of reality rather than actual reality, because actual reality tells us if you're going to go anywhere, go in a plane, not a car. And yet most of us would choose a car quite comfortably, but not a plane for many of us. So think about how false expectation appearing real. Now, we don't know what the future holds. So we all have a choice whether to believe it's going to go right or believe it's going to go wrong. As Henry Ford says, as some of you will know, it's my favourite phrase, whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're probably right. So how about choosing to believe we can and believe that things will work out for us rather than failure? Just an idea. And alongside that, I'd suggest that fits into the idea of scarcity and abundance. So scarcity is the management of limited resources. Abundance is assuming there is more than enough. So if we, sorry, I realise I've spelt abundance with an N, abundance. So forgive me for that. But abundance is about looking at that there's more than enough for everyone. And I have a proposition for you, and I'm sorry to say that when we come out the other side of this, a lot of our competition won't be there. So there probably will be a lot more clients, more business for us, for those that have a plan and deliver a plan to get through it and thrive. So thriving will happen for those of us that have an abundance mentality. Scarcity tends to make us fearful and tends to make us trying to grab onto things and keep hold of things that aren't necessarily helpful for us. And most of us wouldn't want to sit in a scarcity mentality if we had a choice, because it's typically a fear mentality. So hopefully, perhaps I could ask everyone right now, how abundant do we feel? If abundance is a belief in the future that things are going to go great. So Phil, I do believe there's a risk of being overloaded and massively inundated on the other side of this. Okay. Now, Phil, I would like to have a session with you because I think I can really help you there, just from a mindset perspective. And Phil, you're probably saying what many other people are thinking. So this isn't aimed at you, it's aimed at everybody. How about turning that risk into an opportunity? How amazing could overloaded be if we were planning to manage it? So if we're going to be massively inundated and we're planning to deal with that now, maybe we could actually we could develop a far greater market share and maybe get a step change in our business. Oh, Phil, okay, you're posting to all panelists. Thanks, Jason, you just said. So Phil's question, sorry, so for everybody, Phil's point was, I hope you don't mind me sharing, Phil, forgive me if you do, I didn't ask permission, but I do believe there's a risk of being overloaded and massively inundated on the other side of this. And that's a great point. It's a great point. But how do we deal with that? If we plan for that, how cool would it be if we had more business and enough resources to deal with it? What would our business look like? And that would be more of an abundant view. Mark, Mark, you're posting your panelist, but let me read it out. I feel positive that if this doesn't last more than 2 months, we'll be stronger. Brilliant. Okay. So firstly, let's choose to believe that, but maybe plan for it to be 3 or 4 months just in case. But if we can last 2, probably maybe if we put the plans in place, we can last 3, and then we come to the other side of this mark. So great point. I don't know, you don't know. So let's choose to believe what helps us right now. Because if we don't have a positive view, what are we left with? Great. Claire, thank you. Thanks for joining us. That's great to have you on board. Yeah, we discussed earlier having a great advocate of planning. Yeah. So the challenge we have for the future, guys, is the future is totally unknown, and most of us have a fear of the unknown. Okay, we tend to choose to fear it rather than see it as an opportunity. Some people go, well, I don't know it, therefore I'm going to choose to believe everything's going to be great. Now, some people would see that as hopeless optimism, but what would you choose, optimism or pessimism? The key thing, pragmatism says, let's make a plan, because a plan gives us the best chance of evidence, or at least a likelihood of making something happen. So goals and plans are really key. And for those of you that haven't set a plan, we will be running another planning session. It may not be next week, but it will definitely be the following week. So please let us know, maybe just email us that you're interested in a planning session. And so that's going to set some key goals for 90 days and a plan to deliver on those goals. So we get to choose what the goals are, then we get to choose a plan to deliver on those goals. And as I was saying to Claire earlier, I think it was to Claire, the value of planning of a plan is in the planning. It allows us to do the what ifs. What if it doesn't quite work? What would we do differently? How can we make that work? So just a quick check then, because we will get in touch with you. Who doesn't have a plan right now? Any form of plan for at least the next 3 months of what we're going to do to achieve the goals that we want? So a clear set of goals for 90 days and a plan that goes with it. Anybody not have one of those? And don't worry, there will be plenty of you. So, but don't feel the need to share if you don't want to. It's all good. Not a 3-month plan. Great, Mark. Well, I'd suggest we have something that is long enough to see us through the other side, because we should. It's not just for planning how we make do, but it's how we take advantage of the opportunity. Because some of the things we might need to do to take advantage, we may need to be doing now. So, Mark, we will be running another plan, and we'll make sure we specifically involve you. Not a clear plan for the next 90 days, but I do plan to work on it based on last planning session. Thanks, Tracy. Yeah, please use it. For those of you that have been on the session, you have a complete working document to use and keep using. And please, keep reviewing it. You might want to change it slightly based on things changing in the environment. And please take advantage of our gifted coaching sessions to discuss your plan and get us to help you. Maybe just pick out some of the things that would really help. Wonderful. Okay, so on that note, we're actually going to come on to not so much a plan, but these are, well, funnily enough, planning is the first point. These are some of the things we think, if you're currently you're in that planning phase now, you've come out of the fear. Yeah, Phil, totally get you. Just starting to get my head turned back into the after. I totally get it. This first phase, that lockdown phase, caused a lot of insecurity for us. You're working directly with schools. Well, all of a sudden, all of your customers, pretty much shut their doors overnight. So totally understanding there will be a phase of, oh heck, what do we do next? We work with another business that provides services through schools, and they're in the same situation, totally understandably. So, but once we're into the after, now we plan. So here's some steps I think we should be on board on. I'm going to get you just to mark yourself out of 10 about where you think you are, so that you can look at where perhaps you need to put most effort in the next few days. So do you have how well are you, do you have a plan? Do you have a longer term vision, way past 90 days? Do we know where we plan to get to, so that we can keep on track with not just the now, but the future? 90-day plan is what we're going to do. What are we doing right now, week by week? What activities are we going to do to get those goals that we set ourselves? And then break that down into, what am I doing this week? How am I going to do it? What knowledge do I need? When am I going to do it within the week? And then a daily plan, and we have what we call a frog sheet, which is a daily planning sheet, which you're all welcome to have if you like it. Just put frog or frog sheet in the comments, and we'll make sure we send it over to you. That's a way of looking at tomorrow at the end of the day, look at what we've achieved today, and making a plan for the key things we want to achieve tomorrow. And looking at things like our affirmations of our own successes, and looking at some of the measurements we want to take moving forward. So mark yourself out of 10 on how you're getting on with planning right now. For those of you, it's not just for those of you that have team, but leadership is key. 4, okay, yeah, planning. Mark's on 4. So Mark, I suggest we help you get a plan in place, and that will help you get more clarity of what you need to achieve. About 8 or 9 will be hired by the end of the week. Well done, Claire. That's wonderful. Leadership. So yeah. So this obviously leadership typically is around team. But some of you I know don't have team right now. So let's just consider this in terms of self-leadership, not just leadership of others, but leadership of ourselves. But for those of you who do have a team, if they're now remote, probably most will be remote. How do we manage them effectively? Managing a team that you don't physically see and get to meet, or at least them see you every day, it has differences. And we're going to run a special, one of the webinars we're going to run, within the next few days will be on leadership remotely. Probably we're going to move on to online, but things like the frequency of leadership. See, when people can actively see you come into the offices on a daily basis, that just provides a level of comfort for many people. Just a look on your face, the smile that you might have. Now, if they're not getting that, as I say, they can choose to put their own beliefs in place, whether they believe that you're smiling or you're frowning or you're worried or scared. So rather than let them believe things and put their evidence in, we need to show them. So the frequency of leadership probably needs to improve. But also this is true of yourself, how you check in with yourself on a regular basis. So finances, I'd like you to mark yourself out of 10. How many of you have a cash flow forecast in place now? So you can actually look at how you manage the outgoings and the incomings over the next few weeks if they've changed significantly. How we move things around, how we communicate with our customers, our suppliers to bring the money in and pay it out at the right time so that we've always got a reasonable level of security in our bank balance. Anybody here applied already for a business interruption loan? Feel free not to share stuff. I'm just interested if anybody has. Brilliant. Thank you, Namin. You've done well done. I urge you all to at least go through the process. I mean, if cash is totally safe and secure, clearly don't need it. I suspect many people are fearful or believe that they wouldn't get it, or it's going to be a long process. We don't know, but I can guarantee something: if you don't apply, you don't get it. You've got to be in it to win it, as they say. And we've applied. We were told by the bank yesterday that we're gonna get a call back within 5 to 10 working days. So it is a long process. I mean, yeah, you didn't get a call back. I'm waiting for one. It's 5 to 10 working days. So it's 1 or 2 working weeks. So look, guys, you may not need you may not need it right now, but planning tells us if we might need it, let's get it in play. So at least think about it, take advantage of it. And let's be clear, you don't have to take a loan that you get offered. So we can go through all the way through the process and go, actually, 3 weeks later, no, it's okay, I'm covered. No, thank you. But look, the terms of the loans are pretty cool right now, as far as I'm aware. I'm not sure on the interest. I think there was a little bit of a concern initially that the interest rates are going to be high, but the government's going to, A, cover 80% of the risk, and B, pay 12 months of interest on those loans. Interest rates definitely still apply to me now. I think it's just what they are. I did hear, and again, I think this is fearful thinking, that someone was looking at 12% at one point, which I think is taking advantage of the marketplace. And I think whoever was doing that's probably going to get a rack up on the knuckles. But repayment holiday for 3 months, yeah, and interest, I believe. BRL in finances. Sorry, Nathan, it's a business interruption loan. So this is the government announced loan scheme from, goodness, it feels like it was months ago, but it was about a week last Friday. So this is the idea to get a loan to cover the interruption of your business. So the government acknowledges that for many of us, and many of us on this call, much of our business our income will in effect almost disappear overnight. So we've got a reasonably healthy business. It's going forward. Our customers stop buying from us very quickly, and yet the government wants to encourage us to keep our businesses going, pay our team. I'm pretty sure it's called a BIRL as opposed to BIL. But yeah, so it's the loan. So it's the opportunity to take a loan at reasonable terms. As Jason said, there's no interest, or the government pays interest for the first 12 months and provides a guarantee for 80% of the loan balance. So it will make it easier for the lending companies, and they're being instructed to lend this money. Technically, it's for businesses that wouldn't get a loan under normal circumstances, I think is the way they're describing it. So if we've got a business interruption loan scheme. Bills, thank you so much, Jason. Obviously, I may be a great coach, but I can't spell. So and that's in overdraft. And I know Jason was kind enough to share last week, I think, sometime, that he applied to the bank for an overdraft, and within 3 hours got a significant increase on the overdraft. And I think banks are getting the fact that if they're not going to get back to us for 2 or 3 weeks, we may need some short-term coverage. So I'm hoping again that's going to be something open to all of us. But I urge you to speak to your banks about both sets of schemes, so you've got the ability to do this, not necessarily to take it. Okay, so what else have we got? Team. Hopefully some of you are already through this. I know many people working with Claire at Bridge Employment Law. A lot of businesses are already laid off or furloughed their team. Maybe reallocation is another part of this. Could we pivot people from doing stuff that isn't overly necessary right now into stuff that will either bring us business now or in the future, or bring us income in? Unfortunately, we may have to look at redundancy ultimately, but what do we need to do that? And training, for those of you that, again, just a bit of information that might be useful. If somebody's furloughed, the one thing they can do for the business during that period, because they're not supposed to do any work for the business, is they can train. They need to be trained. I think Claire can will tell me if I get this wrong, but they will be paid for that training time at the minimum standard wage or the minimum living wage, but either. But basically, you need to pay them at the sort of a fairly low level to do the training, but they can train. So what an opportunity for your furloughed team to get them trained in either it's things that they need to know to take advantage of the future, or just their own personal development. And maybe this is an opportunity to just keep your team on the toes and keep them match fit. You need to pay at least minimum wage, national minimum wage or living wage. Thank you. So we do need to pay them for that part of the time that they're doing that training. But what an opportunity for the workforce that isn't working right now to get them match fit for the future. If you pay contracted more, if you pay contracted more, ensure you consult them to pay them for less in that time. Right, I think, yes. So if we normally pay them more, we need to consult with them that we're going to pay them a less amount for their training time. So they're furloughed. Yes, right. Okay, so thank you, Claire. So it is slightly more complicated than I thought. So just be aware that it exists. And if you'd like to contact Claire at Bridge Employment Law, we can put you in touch with her if you're concerned about that. But it is a great opportunity. Okay, marketing. So we mentioned marketing earlier. My fundamental belief is keep marketing, but look at the marketing. What we need to do. Certainly, the message is really important because it needs to be relevant to the now, not the 4 weeks ago. So the same. If we're just doing the same marketing, it's unlikely. It's likely that our message is going to fall on deaf ears. But have our targets changed? Do we need to target people and businesses that are more likely to buy now, rather than the ones we were that maybe weren't? So maybe if schools are uncommunicative at the moment, are there other targets that we could potentially address, fulfill, or for other businesses? What channels will we use? Is it the same channels? Do we clearly we can't go knock on doors at the moment, and probably letters to business premises locations aren't going to get read till we come out of lockdown. So are we using different channels to communicate? Phone calls. We have a chat this morning that maybe phone calls for the right businesses are going to get answered by the business owner. Their team might all be home, but they might be covering the phone. So you might get through to people that could be that maybe sometimes you don't manage to do so at the moment. Make sure the message is on message and relevant to the current situation. What offers can we make people? Maybe we need a different offer than we were offering before that makes it easier for people to engage with us right now. And obviously selling then our products, again, the channels we're going to use, the processes might need to change, offers in line with our marketing might need to change. Make it easy to buy and pay, because make it easy, maybe because of our business that it's more difficult for people to buy from us and pay us. So do we need to make things more easy? And for those of you that are on the call with Andy Annett on Monday, he pivoted his business in 4 days to do home delivery of catered food rather than barbecue, event-based barbecuing. He used PayPal online, so he didn't need to set up a lot of complicated credit card payment processes. He uses PayPal and sets it up straight away. So Teresa, yes, office phone is reverted to my mobile, and we've already had a couple of inquiries direct. It's quite refreshing in some ways, but also disruptive in the middle of something. I get that, Teresa. So I'm glad it's refreshing. All I would do is suggest just be patient. People are trying hard to get their message out, and I always think about people that call us. They're just trying to do their job. They don't know if we need what they've got. They're just trying to ring to find out. and if we're respectful and tell them thank you very much, but it's not right now, I think that's the right way to operate. Treat people as we would like to be treated. If we were going to call people, would we like people to be uncommunicative and unpleasant, or would we like them to be helpful? Chris, right, thank you. A question here from Claire. What are my thoughts around concerns with cash flow and payments from clients? We don't want to be unreasonable, but it is something to keep an eye on cash flow. Yeah, I feel it's a fine balance at the moment, especially with ability to trade insolvent technically now. Yeah, solvent technically now. So yeah, no. So suggestion is keep on top of cash flow. So please make sure you've got your cash flow forecast, so you know you've got an idea what your bank balance looks like and how critical it is to get the money in. I would suggest we look at the messages we have to clients as we send the invoices out. So if we're doing business with a client, they know they're going to get the invoice, I would look at the message and put a message specific to now, which would be something like, we really appreciate your ongoing customer business. We know this is in challenging times. You know our payment terms are X days. We would urge you and ask you to let us know at any point if you feel that is going to be a challenge for you to deliver. If we don't hear from you, we're clearly going to expect to receive the money at this point in time. We all need to help each other to manage each other's cash flow. So please let us know. So be thoughtful, but having given them that pre-positioning, I think it's reasonable that we follow it up. A lot of people will be using the current situation to avoid payment. And a lot of it, let's be quite clear, a lot of it is going to be absolutely valid, but some might not be. So let's give people the opportunity, but then think it's firm but fair. We've got to survive to continue to be successful and help people. My opinion is to freeze 3 months, whatever it is, till we get to trade back. Sorry, Namik, I'm interested in your comment. Your opinion is to freeze 3 months of, is that cash flow or payments? I might just unmute you. Right. I can't pay suppliers as we're not trading. I communicate this with them. Until now, it's been understandable. Totally. If we can't pay, but again, as you say, we should be telling people that we can't pay, or at least some form of plan. And unfortunately, the whole world just came to a halt pretty much overnight. For most of us, for many of us, it accelerated in some industries and some businesses. But for those that haven't, the open, honest communication, I can't pay you right now. I will do my best to pay you when I can, and I will keep you updated. It is understandable. So yeah, please just communicate with each other. But I think, Claire, go back to Claire's point, if we've invoiced people and they gave us no reason to think it would be a problem, I think we have the right to follow reasonable cash collection processes. And that's my feeling. But be conscious of their challenges moving forward. Hopefully that answers the question. Make it easy to buy. Okay. And us, finally, are we all looking after ourselves, guys? Are we looking after ourselves? Because that should be probably the first point of call for actually coming out of the initial lockdown phase into training is, are we doing the right things for us? Are we looking after our health? Are we taking the right level of exercise? Are we looking at our diet? How are our personal finances? Walking to work, great, Mark, good job. Yeah, I take a walk every day, which I haven't been able to do for a long time, or I haven't chosen to do for a long time, and I'm absolutely loving it. And again, another benefit from working at home, I can take walking in the fields almost immediately. It's beautiful. Our own personal finances, how do we need to make sure they're in track and on plan? Walking to work from living room to the office, Claire, absolutely brilliant. So here's the deal. It's a great way, actually, just as a matter of interest. I know one of my coaching colleagues in Australia, he set up his home office for years, has been at the end of his garden in a little cabin. And one of the challenges he had with his mindset, which might be relevant right now, was that he felt it was difficult. Actually, he felt his mindset wasn't actually, he wasn't going to work because he was still at home. And he felt that was holding him back a little bit in his performance. So for the last 10 years, he will, he starts work, he dresses for work, fully dresses for work. He walks out of his front door. Up until the COVID situation, he got in his car, he drove around the block, he parked, he came back, he parked slightly different place to where he left. He walks to the end of the garden, and he goes to work. and then he repeats the process in reverse at the end of the day, so that he's still going to work and coming back from work. So his mindset is quite clear. So it's quite a thing to maybe consider, or maybe something like that. But certainly I believe in, and in general, I do continue to dress for work, even though I don't necessarily need to. Just come a couple of things. Deep clean the house, including the cupboards. Well done, Amin. Brilliant point. Looking after ourselves. Let's make sure we're starting from a point of cleanliness and hygiene to work from. Well done. Started going for a walk for an hour every day, which is unheard of for me. Brilliant, Mark. Yeah, it's great for me too, and I'm just loving it. And what a beautiful time of the year to be walking in the springtime. Music on a dance, feel good in many ways. I love that, Trace. I think I'll start doing that. Started doing the NHS Couch to 5K program, Jason. Brilliant. And started a Facebook group to Jason, that's awesome. And I know where you live, it's just a wonderful place to go and start doing those things. So well done, everybody. So yeah, our health, our finances, our family, just checking in on our family. Are they okay? Are our behaviours changing right now and affecting our relationships with our family? I'll be perfectly frank. Myself and my daughter fell out a couple of days ago because I was under stress and she was under pressure, and it didn't need to happen. So we've apologised to each other and made up, but these things can happen, and it was probably coming from the pressures that we're all under. So are we checking in? Our friends, are we looking after our friends? Claire, mainly at home, based as I know your daughter, going out but doing okay for now. Strange not leaving the driver. It's really weird. I haven't been the front of that. I haven't been out for several days now. I've been out walking, but I've not been out in the car or even on the road, because we can go out from the back of the house. Enjoy time to be present with the family and kids. Phil, totally. There are some amazing benefits of where we are right now. Let's take the benefits as well as the challenges. Make changes for being preoccupied from business. One thing I strongly suggest you do is plan your day. Our days can be really fluid. If you like mine, you're working from home, you can go make a cup of tea when you like. You can, just make a plan for big chunks of the day to make sure that, and also when the day ends from a business perspective. Really, really key, so that we're at work, then we're at home. The beauty we have with the flexibility is we could have family time at 3 till 4 if that's the best time for us. So, that's something I'm doing, is I'm making sure I'm with my family at times when it's probably best for them, not just best for me, and in the daytime. So let's look after ourselves and each other. Who are the friends we might be able to get in touch with and help, and also for us as well as the business, what's our vision for the future? What it's going to look like on the other side of this? Maybe where are we going to go on holiday when we can go on holiday again? Let's get some planning with our family and start thinking about that to get a positive view, because I guarantee this situation will finish at some point. We just don't know when. Okay, we just don't know when right now. Cool. Okay, so just what I'd like to do is, do you have any questions? We're going to do Q&A. Actually, we're going to do a question and answer in a minute, just additional questions. Wonderful questions as we've gone through today, so thank you, and comments. Please, if you haven't done a 90-day plan, just put 90-day plan in the comment right now, and make sure we send you a link to the next one when it comes up. Please, we can do Q&A in a sec, but list 5 ideas you've taken from today. And if anyone would like to share them, and any ideas, any blindly fast to the obvious, 90-day plan to me, great, we'll get you on that. I think if we get more than, I don't know, 5 people, we'll run it on probably next Tuesday or Thursday. We'd love to get as many people through that process. For those of you, Nathan, I've got a question and might not have a, right, I'm struggling with the us part, looking after myself. Okay, Nathan. Would you like to have a quick chat about that? I'm happy to unmute you and have a chat about it, or we can chat later separately. What would work for you? I was just looking after myself. So Shaw was just typing. Cash flow forecast more important. Brilliant, Mark. Look, we have a cash flow forecast spreadsheet that we can send you and talk you through. So, right, Nathan, I'll unmute you in a sec. So I will come back to you. Let's just talk it through, because you won't be the only one. So let's do that. So Mark, we've got a cash flow forecast. So Mark Bowen can send that to you. And if you'd like to go through that, I can spare some time tomorrow, especially, to go through that with you. If you want to book half an hour, and we'll just go through and make sure we get the idea of what we need to do. Because there's some things to consider with cash flow forecasts that people don't always get. Voice. Well, Nathan, look, as you said, let me just unmute you if I may, because I'm sure you're not the only one that's thinking about your own situation. So Nathan, you're there. Nathan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You can. Great, I can hear you quite quiet, so I don't know if either you can put the volume up or speak up.
Sorry, I've just got a USB webcam that's it's from years ago.
Perfect. It's all good. No, it's perfect. So Nathan, yeah, struggling with your part. Just elaborate a little bit more, because I'm sure you're not the only person.
Yeah, so the biggest thing I'm struggling with right now, I've got a plan for the business, thanks to your fantastic 90-day session. I know what things I have to get done and what things I need to start thinking about from a business perspective. But from a personal perspective, because the business is struggling financially at the moment, same issues that everybody's facing, I'm personally struggling financially. We even got to the point where we weren't able to pay all of the team the full wages the other day for payroll, and because of that pressure, I did make a plan that I'd go out for a walk every day. Try to use the time as best I can, but I keep struggling because I'm thinking, actually, I need to be sat here working. I need to be getting through everything as quickly as possible to get everything paid. And obviously my time is suffering as a result.
Yeah. Well, I totally get that. You won't be the only one, I'm sure. It's that feeling of demand. I don't know if you feel this, but I think there's a feeling of guilt that if I'm not spending 24/7 working hard, that somehow it's my fault, and I need to do that. The first thing is, we can't help our business. We can't pay our people if we're not fit and healthy, and that's not just physically fit. That's mentally fit too and healthy. Now, how do you feel when you go for a walk and get some exercise?
Normally pretty good. I mean, don't live in the best area, but it's nice to clear your head and have a break from the work. Absolutely.
Great. So do you feel you're more effective having had some exercise and a walk, or less?
It depends, to be honest, because when I do go out for a walk, I do get that guilt. I'm walking around thinking, actually, should I be back working and cracking on with things?
Okay, if you looked practically, and there's a lot of studies, if you research studies in Scandinavia, there are scientifically backed studies that suggest that taking time for ourselves to keep ourselves fit and healthy makes us way more effective and efficient. Way more effective and efficient. In fact, in Scandinavia, I can't remember which countries, they're actually going down to a 4-day and a 3-day week on the basis that people get more done in less time because they're spending other time to look after themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
So what you're experiencing, and most of us are, and I'll put myself there too. I'm similar. I go for a walk, obviously before it goes to 10. I think, oh, should I just do an extra bit? And no, and I've got the habit. I need to keep myself healthy so I can lead the business and the team forward to keep them healthy. You're not just doing it for yourself; you're doing it for everyone around you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm writing notes down of everything you said.
No, please, there's no worries. I just I don't know if it totally applies, but I love the analogy with the plane. If who do I help first? Do I help everybody else by doing lots of work, or do I help myself? If you imagine a member on a plane when they're doing the safety briefing, and they say if the cabin decompresses, you need to put the mask on. And what do they say about putting the mask on if you're with other people?
To put your own mask on so that you can look after them. Yeah, that's a perfect analogy.
Great, because you can't put theirs on if you've got unconscious. Now, all our resources are limited, so we need to rest and recuperate and top up our resources to be able to help everybody else. I guarantee, if we had an open honest discussion with your team, and you could, they would want you to be as fit and healthy to lead them forward as you can be.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And I did speak to the team the other day and explain the situation. And I mean, Mark Bowen knows I was terrified of the idea of calling them to say that,
Yep.
we can't fully pay everyone, but they were very understanding and they were very supportive. So
great. So the only person that's beating you up right now is you.
Yeah, basically, that's a common occurrence.
Okay. So there's logical and illogical activity, Nathan. Which one would you choose?
Logical every time, if I can.
Well, yeah, well, okay. Well, so what does that mean? So, see, feeling guilty doesn't help anybody. Your team don't want you to feel guilty. You don't want to. Your family don't. So it is not serving you in any way, and it's not serving the people around you.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. Thank you.
Cool. You're very welcome. I'm glad that's really helped because it's look. I'm absolutely sure you're not the only person that feels like that right now. I know I have personally myself. So, please don't ditch yourself. You don't need to. Cool. Let me mute you. Thank you so much. A few comments while we were on. Voice might be easier. Currently have no powers about getting money. So forcing us to sit down on computers doesn't help our business. It just ties us to rusty wheel. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not totally sure about that. Just follow the thread through. Ability to focus is definitely impacted. Having time out usually helps us improve focus. And if we've got focus, we've got clarity, and therefore we've got more effective action. So we've got to get out. I think, yeah, so I can see, Namin, I think you're obviously agreeing with the whole process. Guys, if we don't look after ourselves, then we won't be able to do the stuff that our family and our teams and our businesses require. So please look after ourselves first. Take it as an investment for helping others, not a tea detriment. Lee, I found all of the madness as an opportunity to take a cut off from the business, which has helped 6 p.m. Hope I can keep this up after. Absolutely. There's going to be some great things coming out of how we change our working lives, and things like working more remotely. If we know we're getting it done, and it means we don't have all the travelling, which is not bad for the environment, we can help our family and friends too, and get more time together. So, well done. Sorry, Mark. Understand and totally empathise with Nathan. A lot of people are feeling quite emotional out there, knowing they can't pop down the road and meet with friends or colleagues or hug their mums and dads. Well, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Christopher. Look, I really appreciate it, and forgive me getting a little bit personal, but just supporting what you said, Mark. We just a story, just very, very quickly. So most Friday nights, I meet with 4 other guys down the pub. We're a range of ages from 2 in our 40s, 1 in our 50s, 1 in our 70s, 1 in our 80s. So we're a load of old buggers talking rubbish, and we love doing that, mainly about sport, which is a challenge right now, and we obviously that stopped, but thanks to technology, thanks that I'm using this now quite well, I've set up we have a virtual pub. So we had a virtual pub on, I think it was last Friday or Saturday night. We met at 6 for an hour, talked rubbish online. It took 20 minutes to get the 80-year-old actually using this thing, and so we could see more on the top of his head, but we all loved it. We had a great time, and I think I'm going to expand that out to family and friends. I think maybe we're going to get more in touch with people that we don't speak to very often or see very often. I want to do it with my mum over the weekend and stuff. Let's just we've got to nurture ourselves as well as others. Hopefully that's not too much of a rant, but I can see it hits a key with everybody. So 5 ideas and actions. So I know cash flow was one coming back. Please list your actions. We'll come back to more questions if there are any. I think we've got quite a lot. So please remember the 15 gifted coaching sessions. We've got some times tomorrow. So for those of you, and there's a few new names on here, please let's just have a chat through. It's just an opportunity to help you. If we can give you one idea that helps you move forward in that session, then that'd be an absolute delight. I've had a couple today, and I know they've helped the people I've spoken to. And the idea will be we'll probably be 2 or 3 together, whether they're every week or every month or something, just help people through for each individual. The webinars are running now is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we'll add things in between all those, and we'll have new and different content every time. So please keep coming. And finally, we're running on Friday as we said, our Action Club, which is our group coaching program, and we're specifically focusing on our marketing and making it relevant to the current situation. So looking at the channels, the message, the method, the media, and how we can pivot it to get us where we want to go. Now, we're going to invite you all to join us. We've got a great group going there. We want you all to join us. We'll send you an email to let you know about it. And come on board, think about your marketing. The time you spend investing in thinking about the growth and the survival of your business is absolutely key right now. So please get on that. And on that note, are there any other questions or comments? Because I'm really happy. We've got a couple of minutes, we've got about 4 minutes left of the hour we normally do. If anything, any questions or comments, and otherwise I'm just going to ask you how you're feeling and rate yourself again and make sure we're doing a good enough job of a good shot in the arm. Do you do rounds in the virtual pub? Now, Lee, that's a great question. So, well, the challenge, obviously, that's the challenge. We're thinking of the idea, Lee, of each person's round, they pick a cocktail. So we've all got to go and or drink of choice. So when you do the round, everyone gets to drink what you ever choose it to be. And I think if we can morph that into some stupid cocktails, I think that might make it quite fun. Yeah, Greg, it's a great question. But look, it's just having fun. It was really interesting. We talked about different things. I just rubbish as usual, but like just that connection. And you know, the nice thing for me personally was I could really see the difference it made to a couple of the guys just having people, you know, just having that connection. Thank you. Well, part of our coaching is having fun. If you don't like fun, then you've got to get out of this dodge anyway. But look, we've got to smile and laugh, guys. That's really important for our own personal mental health, to smile and laugh. Smiling is contagious. So let's keep that contagion going. Okay, I don't think there's any other comments or questions. So just before we go, just any final thoughts, and mark yourself out of 10, perhaps where you were and where you are, just to see if we're making a difference, because that's what we want to do. So, and then we'll wrap up and get back to getting stuck in. So how are you feeling? 8 out of 10. Great. Thanks, Teresa. That's wonderful to hear. That's brilliant. Anybody else? 9 from Claire. Wonderful, Claire. Namin, 8.5 from Lee. Wonderful. Well, look, it feels like we're making a difference. And look, guys, you know, most of the time we're going to do this, we're going to have some 10. Need lunch for 10. Okay, go for lunch. That's good. Eat. We need to replenish as well. Look, as I say, we're here to help and make a difference. And so, we'll always bring some content to it, but sometimes it's just a check-in. So please put these webinars on, even if you're just checking in. I know sometimes you may have other things you're doing right now, but just put it on the background if that's necessary. Maybe just get something by osmosis, or just pick up something which you're listening. But please keep coming. Please keep telling us how we can help you, and please keep telling other people how that we can help them and get them on these webinars. We've got a Facebook group and a LinkedIn group, and please join both and just put a comment and a recommendation so we can help as many people as we can and save as many jobs. On that note, thanks, guys. It's been a great session. We will see you all very soon on Friday. Thanks, guys. Bye now.